Welcome back to My Hero Academia review. And review episode number 147. This I'm reviewing the the 125th chapter of that episode, 125th episode of the series, Threads of Hope, and the 377th chapter in the manga. Which, I forgot to mention this in my Black Clover review. Apparently, the next chapter for this one, Black Clover, and the One Piece, I'm going to do One Piece next, by the way, next anime, I have to wait 2 weeks for the next chapter. Don't know why, but that's basically what I want to do. They want to take like another week off. Yeah. So this episode, we cover chapters. They cover this episode, chapters 292, 293, the first 8 pages of 294. Most of this one, we are set in one location. The episode starts off where we see how Best Jeanist, how he kind of got to his location, when he got to the location where the heroes are, and you see him do his little move he does with his forever stuff. And as for the case of Nemus, which of course Nezri trying to take him on, all of a sudden Lemillion pops out of nowhere. They'll at least explain in flashback how the heck got his powers back, despite the fact that he had lost his powers back in season 4. By the way, this is season 6. It had been like if you think starting the anime, it's been 2 years. He says in the anime it's been 6 months of acting in the field. So it's explained, and of course it's shown in the flashback, that Eri, in the flashback, decided to use the rewind power, which he'd been practicing for 6 months to reverse his power. Which proved to be successful enough for him to return to the field. And we see him basically take us to Nemu, and of course calling for help. And of course he gets help from Ingenium, Nezri, who got hit by Dabi. Yeah, Dabi hit her in the face, though she was moving no problem. Yeah, of course, yeah, it looks to take Nemu's not much an issue. In the case of Giant Makia, well, he gets so tangled up at one point, he actually makes up thanks to Todoroki telling him to do rampaging. Of course, Deku trying to attack, and later using the Black Hole, which I'll get to in a minute. So we see Shudo fighting Dabi for a while, and it looks like all hope is lost until basically Deku uses his Black Whip via, he says, Froppy style, firing the Black Whip from his mouth. And you're probably thinking, that's ingenious. The copy Froppy, which, for me, it's great that he's basically using a style for my favorite female character the whole series. Froppy. As for Giant Magia, just so I can try and handle him, it's Endeavor's the one who actually comes in and basically gives a big, humongous haymaker right under his chin, and he's about to attack, and he falls unconscious. You could think you could thank Red Riot for this. Apparently, it took 3 episodes for that setup to take effect, and he's unconscious. Yep. Best Jeanist is doing his best. Of course, he had also taken Spinner, Compress, and Todoroki, and the binding whip, basically almost like I'm going to knock him unconscious. We also see Spinner when he wakes up Todoroki by biting his head. Yes, Spinner would do this. Toga is not here. He's off somewhere in the city, thanks to their encounter with Froppy and Ochaku. We do see with cameos in this episode by Mount Lady, who's got sticks sticking out of her butt. Yes, seriously, there were sticks sticking out of her rear end, which I'm sure she's probably going to take time to remove those. When you see that Midnight is unconscious, and thank God those villains didn't exactly go over and be perverts and try to rape her. Thank God for that. Because that would have been kind of dumb. And probably, I'm sure Elizabeth Maxwell probably would not have been happy to see her character getting raped on screen. I'm sure she probably would not have been happy with that at all. It's a good thing My Hero Academia that doesn't go the route of having some villain seeing a smoking hot woman lie on the ground, clothes torn up a bit, and basically over try to rape her. Thank God we didn't go with that trope. Which normally that probably would happen in a situation like this. A woman who's like on the ground, so it's a little bit bruised, but basically like had her clothes a little bit torn, but not completely torn up. And I'm kind of glad you might think, oh, what they go because based on where she was, and the fact that when last saw her, she was like from a villain. So thank God our heroes came along to save her or to prevent this. I mean, they probably wouldn't have killed her per se. Well, they probably could have after they raped her. Given the fact Midnight's a very beautiful woman. Now, I'm not basically giving the series any ideas to have Midnight get raped. That's a stupid idea. But that's what the trope would probably be in this situation. But luckily enough, she's perfectly fine. She is unconscious. And of course, the class 1A are basically perfectly fine. Right, Rise apparently got able to be started back normal. And the episode ends with basically, look like impressed about do something, and that's the end of the episode. Really good episode, love it. I hope everybody does not take the whole thing with Midnight getting potentially raped. I hope everyone does not take that the wrong way. That's a situation that basically would have been done in another series, but this is My Hero Academia, and plus they're probably gonna appeal to kids, so they probably don't want it to happen to someone as beautiful as Midnight. And of course, she's voiced by a beautiful woman, Elizabeth Maxwell. But I'm sure that probably Lucy, Christian, Monica, Riel are probably not happy with the fact that it's My Hero Academia and their characters have no lines this episode. I'm sure Justin Brenner was happy. I'm sure also that Lynn Seidel got a chance to do some lines. I'm sure Patrick Salt's probably like, yeah, my character's got lines. I'll basically do what I normally do. But if you think about who's now character this episode besides Liz Million, I would probably say it's Nezri. She's a good standout character. She does a really good job this episode. Her and Ingenium. Alright, moving on to chapter manga. Chapter 377. The Chain Thus.
Sorry for the interruption, but I need to give this to you right now.
Okay.
1-0, I gave you 3. There you go. Take 2.
Thank you. All right. Ice cream. Alright, moving on to this chapter of the manga. So we start off with this chapter is called The Chain Thus Far. We see somebody pulling some sakura flowers, and then we cut to present day. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention Mercur and Eraserhead was pulled away on stretchers. So we see that Warp Gate has basically brought in, he says, Yamada. And of course, basically they're on the side. And then we see, looks like UA has been destroyed. Yeah, UA, the school we've been seeing since the start of the series, it looks like it's been destroyed. They have lost control. Skeptic Basic is like, at last, spread down for heroes. Deku Basic is trying to do his way. Like, apparently it's not Deku, apparently it's Phantom Thief. And, like, everything's about to look like fall. Like, give me a villain. Skeptic basically, like, every subterranean evacuation system is putting in my hands now. It must the heroes cling to the name of liberation. Like, everything is like seems to go for him. And all of a sudden, found ya! It took a while, but you finally showed yourself. Honey, you down was always work, huh? But nothing too much for me, because it's all for Gento's sake. Yes, we see the return of La Brabra. First time since the cultural festival arc she's been seen. I'm like, wow. Former crime clip upload of villain La Brabra. And I believe that's supposed to be General Criminal in the background, which she's in love with. And the thing is, Gentle Criminal, it's able from the anime and manga, he does know that she's in love with him. He knows that. From what I can tell, he perfectly accepts it. It's perfectly fine. But he wants her basically to have her own life. I think she's supposed to be 15 or 16 at this point in time. Even though she's really short. But yeah, it's interesting that we bring back La Brava. So apparently La Brava has now become Skeptic's arch nemesis because of the fact he's a hacker. I'm like, this is so awesome. La Brava is a great character. I'm glad that the writer of My Hero Academia brought her back. And if you think about it, her character was last seen toward the end of season 4. By the way, the arc which she was in the anime was heavily delayed because of the stupid pandemic. Yes, for me, I'm happy to see her. She's an absolute great character. It's a shame that the episodes were delayed because of the pandemic. Like, the episodes were double released like every couple weeks, which I was not very happy with that. Thank God with season 5 they fixed that. Yep. But yeah, that's particularly it. By the way, I give this chapter a 10 out of 10. It's really good because we have La Brava show up. The only shame of this chapter is the fact it's only 11 pages. Yep. But yeah, that's it, particular view. Next up is going to be One Piece. But after I do a Comic Corner. That'll be next. And then One Piece. Okay, thanks for the video. Bye.